And now in this class, we will discuss articulators above larynx. So you know that larynx is responsible for giving the air sound. So larynx is basically the sound source, and we have already discussed that larynx is also known as voice box. We have discussed that larynx is also known as the Adam's apple. And when the air passes through larynx, there are two vocal folds. They flutter and they flutter, and the air gets the sound. We already have seen that there are three filters above larynx. So in this class, we will discuss all the articulators that are there above larynx. The first filter is known as pharynx. Now, what is pharynx? Pharynx is a tube. So it just begins above the larynx. So here you have larynx. Let's say you have larynx here, and this pharynx starts just above. So from here till here, this entire tube is known as pharynx. So it is about 7 centimeter long in women and about 8 centimeter in men, and its top end is divided into two parts. Now, what is the top end of pharynx? So we can see that this is the top end of the pharynx. So one part is divided into the oral cavity, this mouth. So air can pass through oral cavity, and another one is air can also pass through nasal cavity, because it is very much possible for us to breathe in and out through our mouth as well as through our nose. Generally, we breathe in and breathe out through our nose when we are not talking. But when we are talking, then air is also passing through our mouth and air is also passing through our nose. So this information is provided here, that the top end of the pharynx is divided into two parts. One part is being the back of the oral cavity. Now this entire region is your oral cavity. Cavity is a space that is known as cavity, and you have a different word like cave, and we know the structure of the cave. So you can also consider your mouth a very small cave, and where you have a space, then it's a cavity. So similarly, you have some small space in this nasal passage, so it is nasal cavity. So in our mouth, we have two types of cavity, oral cavity and nasal cavity. So we are discussing one part, that is the back of the oral cavity. So here, this is the back of the oral cavity, and uh, it is like it's near the end of the pharynx, and other being the beginning way through the nasal cavity. So here it is the starting of the nasal cavity that you have. So you can also see when you look in the mirror, and when you open your mouth wide open, you can see the back of the pharynx. So if it is very wide open, you are in front of the mirror, you can very easily see what is pharynx. So this is again, because pharynx, it has some role in articulation. So this is the articulators above the larynx. Now, what is the next articulator that you have? That is known as soft palate. The technical term for soft palate is velum. So velum is a jargon in linguistics, particularly in phonetics and phonology. And you can see this soft palate. And again, once your mouth is wide open, then you can see this part. This is your soft palate, also known as velum. The soft palate or velum is seen in the diagram in a position that allows air to pass through the nose and through the mouth. So again, like when air flows upward, then the air can also flow from here, air can also move from here. But this part is mobile. This part is movable. So this part can uh, touch this area, and when this part touches this wall, then there is a block. And when there is a block, then air will only pass through oral. So there are certain sounds when there is a block. So this narrow scape is not there. So when the velum is raised, so now let's say this is the velum, this part, soft palate part, and now there is a space, as you can see. But now when it is raised, then what will happen? Now there is a blockade. Then the air will only pass through oral cavity. Such sounds are known as oral sounds. And when air passes through nasal cavity and oral cavity as well, then those sounds are known as nasal sounds. So there are two types of sounds, oral sounds and nasal sounds. There are very few nasal sounds. Otherwise, most of the sounds are oral sounds. So we will discuss which are those sounds in due course. But here the important information is that the soft palate or velum is seen in the diagram in a position that allows air passes through the nose and through the mouth. And the other important thing about the soft palate is that it is one of the articulators that can be touched by the tongue. So you can move your tongue back and you can touch this part. This part you can touch. So if you just roll your tongue back, and you can feel that this portion is hard and the back portion is soft. So that's why it is known as hard palate and this is known as soft palate. So it's like very commonsensical that why it is known as soft palate and why it is known as hard palate. This hard palate is the highest position, as you can see, this entire thing, and this is the hard palate. This one is the highest. So this is also known as the roof of the mouth. This is the roof of the mouth, the highest point, that is the roof of the mouth. Hard palate is also known as the roof of the mouth. So when we make the sounds like k and g, k as in cat, g as in gate. So k and g, they are sounds, and if you pronounce these sounds, you can feel that your back of the tongue is touching the soft palate. K, g. You can see k, g. This back of the tongue is touching the soft palate. K, g. So if we need to describe these sounds k and g, then we will say these sounds are velar sound, velar consonant. And why velar? Because the back of the tongue touches velum. So velum is the body part and the sounds are velar. And because k and g, they are consonants, that's why we call them velar consonants. The hard palate. Hard palate is often called the roof of the mouth. So again, you can feel your hard palate. You can feel its smooth curved surface with your tongue. So you can feel like it's like quite smooth, and it's the roof of the mouth. It's the topmost position of your mouth. A consonant made with the tongue close to the hard palate is called palatal. So again, a palatal. So there are certain consonant sounds which are produced through the hard palate, and there is a sound y, as in yes. So do not confuse with the letter here. It looks like a small j, but it is a sound. It is not a letter. This thing you need to keep in mind. So ya as in yes is a palatal sound. This sound is a palatal sound. And how you pronounce ya? When you say ya, then you can feel that your tongue is rolled and it's near this hard palate. Yeah, it's near it. Yeah, yeah. It is not touching the hard palate, but it is quite near the hard palate. That's why yeah is your palatal sound. We will discuss all these sounds in detail as well. But here, because we are discussing the articulators above larynx. Now next is the alveolar ridge. Now in the diagram, you can see what is alveolar ridge here. This is your alveolar region. and it is like a ridge. So alveolar ridge is between the top front teeth. This is your top front teeth, and this is your hard palate. So it is somewhere in between your upper teeth and hard palate. You can feel its shape with your tongue. Again, we can feel its shape. Its surface is really much rougher than it feels and is covered with little ridges. So little ridges are there. That's why it is known as alveolar ridge. You can only see these if you have a mirror small enough to go inside your mouth, such as those used by dentists. So generally dentists, because they have a very small mirror through which they can put that mirror in your mouth, and they can see whether there is some cavity in in your teeth or any other such problem. So what are the sounds which are made from this region? The, na. Now, how do you pronounce this sound when you say the, na? If you pronounce this sound, you can feel that your tip of the tongue is touching the alveolar ridge. The, na. So these sounds are called alveolar. So there is no new terminology we are studying or we are giving, but simply we are giving we are naming these sounds on the basis of from where they are pronounced. So if I ask like give me alveolar sounds, then you will say the, no. So it's like as simple as this. Now tongue is also divided into 5 parts. Now tongue is quite flexible, and generally um, you want to do or give much attention to the tongue, but it is divided into 5 parts. And why this division is necessary? Because each part is responsible for the production of certain sounds. So the tongue is a very important articulator because it is quite flexible. It can be moved into many different places and different shapes. It is usual to divide tongue into different parts, though there is no clear dividing lines within its structure. So for our convenience sake, we are dividing it. Otherwise, there is no fixed structure that because there is a possibility that some people's tongue is longer than the other people. Some people tongue is shorter than. So it's not like this much length is for tip, this much centimeter is blade, this much is front, back, and root. So this is not the case. But still, whatsoever is the size of the tongue, we can make these divisions like tip of the tongue, blade of the tongue, front of the tongue, back of the tongue, and root of the tongue. So this is again a division that you need to make. And why this division is necessary? Because once you describe and classify individual sound, then this is important. For example, when I say describe the sound t, describe the sound na, then when you pronounce na sound, you know that only tip of the tongue is used, not the blade, front, or back. So tip of the tongue is used. So you can say when tip of the tongue touches the alveolar ridge, then I can pronounce or anyone can pronounce sound na. So in that manner, this division is quite important because you can describe these sounds meticulously, very clearly. Then as you already know that our lower jaw is movable, it is flexible, but upper jaw, upper teeth, they are fixed. They can't move. So the teeth, upper and lower, are usually shown in the diagrams and figure only at the front of the mouth, immediately behind the lips. So that is your upper, and in this diagram, as you can also see, so the tongue is in the contact with the upper side teeth for most speech sounds. So generally, when you pronounce a sound, your tongue touches upper teeth, upper region, and not the lower one. And there is a word like interdental. The meaning of inter is between, and dental means teeth. So there are certain sounds which are interdental. And what are those sounds? Th and the. This th is the theta, and this is the sounds. So these are sounds, these are not letters. So once you draw these sounds, you need to draw them exactly. Now, in the production, while producing these sounds, th and the, Indians generally produce these sounds as dental. That means the tongue is not in between upper and lower teeth. There is a possibility that once you pronounce, you say th, the, and tongue is coming in between upper and lower teeth. But there is also a possibility that your tongue is touching only the upper teeth and the production is made. And there is no significant difference between the production. So I can say th, and it's like not interdental but simply dental. But I can also say th when the tongue is coming, the tip of the tongue is coming in between lower and upper teeth. So the important information is that th and the, they are dental sounds. And now you know why they are dental, because tip of the tongue touches the upper teeth. Now lips are quite important, and they can be pressed together like pa. So when I pronounce this sound pa, you can feel that my lips are coming together. When I say ba, then okay, also they are coming together. The difference between pa and ba is that pa is voiceless sound, but ba is a voice sound. We will discuss the concept of voiceless and voiced as well. But at the same time, when we pronounce fa and va, then you can see that my lower lip is touching upper teeth. Fa and va. So lower lip, upper teeth, then such type of sounds are known as labiodental. Labio means lips and dental means teeth. So when a lower lip and upper teeth, they are used, then the sounds are labiodental. When both the lips are involved, then it is bilabial. So you can spread your lips like E. When you say E, then lips are spread. When you say U, then lips are rounded. So likewise, your lips are also quite flexible, and they are also responsible for making making different sounds. So this is the lips. They are also the articulators above the larynx. Now there is a difference between vowels and consonants, and what are those differences that we will see now. The words vowel and consonant are very familiar ones, but when we study the sounds of speech scientifically, we find that it is not easy to define exactly what they mean. Obviously, because I think this is the first time you are observing sounds so closely. Otherwise, we produce sounds, we talk to each other throughout the day, entire our life, but we do not pay that much attention to the sounds like consonants and vowels. But here it's a chance to understand why such and such sounds are vowels, why such and such sounds are consonant. So the most common view is that vowel sounds in which there is no abstraction. So vowel sounds are free flowing. Right. And we also have this experience of meeting a doctor, and when doctor wants to check whether everything is fine in our vocal tract or everything is fine in our throat, then doctor asks us to say ah like this, and doctor sees that whether everything is fine or not. So when we say ah, actually what we are doing, we are making a vowel sound. Ah is a vowel sound. So when we say ah, and we can continue like this, like ah, there is no obstruction. It's a free flow. But if I am making a sound like p, then there is an obstruction. I cannot lengthen p like ah. So if I want to lengthen p, then the sound will be like p p p p p p p p, like note. When I say p, then again is there. So because of otherwise if simply I make the consonant sound like p, this is the actual production of p. And when I say p very clearly, then I am also making little vowel sound with p. Otherwise the consonant p is only sound like this. If I say na, then I am saying consonant and vowel, and is the vowel. But if I simply say na, then the production will be like n, like this. N. So one distinction that we have made, that vowels are free flowing, consonants are not. Now we will see this thing that there is one English word mime. You already know there are various mimicry artists, and what generally they do, they mime each other. So there is a word mime, and we know that the first sound is ma and the last sound is also ma. So the English word, if we say several times, mime, 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 mime. So what is this? First, we know that our lips are touching each other. That means ma is a bilabial sound. Mime, mime, mime. And we will see now the difference between an oral sound and a nasal sound. Let's say I'm saying continuously mm, this is the production of sound. Now what I'll do, you need to see me carefully, that I will close my nostrils and then I will do, so I am producing this sound. mm, Sound is stopped. mm, mm. Why sound is stopped? Because air is passing through nasal passage. Air is passing through nasal passage, and that's why ma is a nasal sound. And as soon as I pinch my nostrils, sound is stopped. So now you know that, because I have blocked that passage from where air is passing through. And as you know that all the sounds, they travel through air. The air that is responsible for our living and for our breathing process, and on that air sound also travels through. And as soon as I stop my nostrils, even for 1 second, the sound is stopped. So now you know that why ma is a nasal sound, because air passes through nasal cavity when you pronounce ma. Ma. Mm, it's blocked. Fine. So this is how you can test yourself whether a sound is an oral sound or sound is a nasal sound. But even like if you find it difficult, there are only three nasal nasal sounds in English: ma, na, and unga. Unga as in sing, playing. So unga. So only these three sounds are nasal sounds. Rest of the sounds are oral sounds. Now there is one more correction that you need to do, and you need to unlearn that thing, because in your elementary school you all have learned that vowels of the English language are a, e, I, o, u, and sometimes y. But to remind you, a, e, I, o, u, and y, they are letters. They are not, first of all, vowels. So you need to understand what makes a vowel a vowel. First, we will look at the origin of this word vowel. The word vowel comes from the Latin vox. So there is a Latin root, vox. And what is the meaning of this root vox? That means voice. So one thing is, all vowels are voiced. All vowels are voiced. And you have other such words in English language like vocal, vociferate, and they also have the meaning associated with voice. Now, when it comes to consonant, now this con, the meaning of con is with. C-O-N, con means with. And if we remove con from consonant, then sonant, sonaire, so two sounds. So that means consonants are those sounds, they come along with vowel. So when there is a production of speech, when either you say a word, phrase, sentence, or a longer utterance, then you produce vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant continuously, and then there are different words. So we will see, like, even a very simple word, let's say bat, B-A-T, bat. So in this word, b and t, they are consonant, but in between there is a, that is your vowel, bat. This is how this entire language is structured. So you can't have a word where all the consonants are there. Fine. So vowels are very much responsible for the speech. Vowels are very much responsible for the production of individual words as well. So when we utter a consonant, then there is very much a chance that we will also utter a vowel. When I say like p, then little p and is there. So this is your vowel sound. Fine. So this is how things work in phonetics and phonology. And when we talk about English sound system, then vowel and consonants, they are the chief division, first chief division of English sound system. So I stop here, and if you have any question, you can write in the chat box as well.